What's up guys, I'm Sauer with Tearing Concealed and we are back with episode 3 of Monday Gunday. Today we will be talking about the much requested Sauer P320. The original P320 was introduced to the North American market in 2014. It's a further development of the SIG P250, utilizing a striker fire system rather than a double action hammer fired system. So it's currently available in 9x19, 357 SIG, 40 Smith & Wesson, 10mm auto, and 45 ACP. So one of its more notable accomplishments is back in 2017, it won the United States military's modular handgun systems trials, and those variants became known as the M17 and the M18. The P320 platform has become extremely popular since its debut in 2014. I'm going to go down this list of countries that it is currently or has been in service in, starting with, obviously, United States, the United Kingdom, France, Indonesia, Mexico, Norway, Spain, Switzerland, Thailand, Ukraine, Canada, Costa Rica, Denmark, Australia, Bolivia, and Brazil, and obviously dozens of law enforcement agencies here in the US. One of the very unique things about the P320 series or system is that its fire control unit is the serialized part. So you can go and buy frames, slides, and stuff like that and just kind of mix and match and build them out as long as you have that fire control system. You can just go and pick up a frame without doing your 4473 background check and swap that fire control system into your handgun. And of course, you can't talk about the P320 without talking about the early drop safe issues. That led to a number of lawsuits, but ultimately SIG came out with a remedy, and since then they have been a reliable and very popular handgun. So the configuration that we are working with is a normal P320 frame, one of the earlier iterations, with an X-carry slide. It's just what we had available in our armory that got us as close as possible to being stock. In this current configuration, the barrel is 3.9 inches. It weighs 27 ounces. So our current setup has an overall length of 7.38 inches and a width of 1.2 inches with a height of 5.41 inches. And as you guys are probably familiar, there is a lot of different P320 variations, and that is due to its modularity from the unique fire control unit. You can swap out frames, slides, triggers, and it's really a pretty cool platform that you can milk a lot of performance out of. So with all that said, we're going to take it out to the range and run it through our 3 live fire drills and see where it lands in our scoring system.
All right guys, we are here at the range, specifically beautiful Utah public land because it's nice and we can go outside now. But today we're shooting, like we said earlier, the P320, specifically a carry length, but a regular 320 frame nonetheless. So we're gonna start out with the 7-yard build drill, run those back to back. Then we'll do the regular 3R3 to test the ergonomics of the slide release, magwell, stuff like that. Then we'll bump it back to 10 yards and do the B8 for the accuracy test. So let's jump right into it. All right, and as usual, we're running out of an Axis Elite. All right, here we go. Build drill at 7 yards. That was a 230. That looks clean. Let me check the mag. Should be good for another 6. All right. Okay, so I think I'm down just 1 outside, and that was a 218. So let's go check those hits. So I think that was my first shot. Got kind of a weird purchase on that one, but I'm very happy with that, running irons at 7 yards on a build drill. So not crazy fast just because I'm not used to this trigger, but the recoil impulse is enjoyable, like it's not bad. So let's run the 3R3 and see what the reloads are like. All right, let me check. And we are going to slide lock just to see what the slide release is going to be like, see if we do get slide lock. So let's try it out. That was a 469. Kind of a weird little hiccup there. That was my bad. Let's try again. This one, the normal frame, doesn't come with really much of a magwell at all, but it's not too bad. Let's run it again. Ooh, little hang up there. So that was a hang up on my shirt of 544. So let's go check those hits. So threw one out. I think that was on my first string. But yeah, there really isn't much of a magwell on this frame. I know on like when you get into the X Carry series and the X5, there's a really nice magwell on those, but we just wanted to test out really the first iteration of the 320. As you guys know, there are a lot of different kinds of 320 styles. So let's run the B8 now. All right, so now we're gonna run the 10-yard B8. And with this, as usual, we're going no time. I'm just gonna try and get super clean trigger presses and just go for 100% accuracy. So let's bump it back to 10 yards. All right, let's see what we can do. Was that 10?
That might have been 11.
Okay, either way, let's go back. I suck at counting and I didn't do the right thing and only put 10 rounds in my mag. But for having only put probably 30 rounds through this, I'm pretty happy with that. Considering we did 11 rounds, we'll go back and count. I'm gonna say that one is not breaking the line. So let's say 99. So that's pretty good. For me, the sights, these are the, I think they have a tritium insert, just green dot in the front, tritium in the rear. For me, it was point of aim, point of impact. So I was putting that green dot right over the X. And when I was really focusing down, trying to just break the trigger super clean, that's where I was hitting exactly. And obviously I pulled some just because I'm not super well acquainted with the 320, but no, I think that's pretty good accuracy. Pretty happy with the sights right out of the box. This is an X Carry slide, just because that's just what we had in the armory. But for all intensive purposes, this gun is completely stock. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Let's take it back to the armory and tally up our scores.
All right guys, we're back from the range and we're gonna see where the SIG P320 lands in our scoring system. Starting off with cost, I gave it a 6 because they are a little bit more on the expensive side as far as striker fired polymer handguns go. They can range anywhere from $650 to $800 depending on where you get them, and also depending on what model you get. I'm basing this off of just the normal X Carry and the shorter slide normal, just 320s as they come. Moving on to ergonomics, this is a pretty comfortable pistol to hold and to shoot. The grip is very nice. It sits well in the hand. You can get a nice high purchase. I only gave it a 7 though, because other guns come with some adjustability as far as the back strap goes. But other than that, it is a pretty ergonomic pistol and it is pretty pleasant to shoot. I gave the trigger a 5. It's not a bad trigger. Like, it has a nice break. It is a little bit spongy, but given the drop safe issues, that kind of bumped it down a little bit for me. But other than that, it's a decent trigger as far as striker fired guns go. Moving on to bore axis, I gave it a 4 for obvious reasons. The past two guns that we've shot, the Glock 19 and the M&P 2.0, both have pretty low bore axes and are very easy to control the recoil. The P320 is still a 9mm, so it's not hard to control, but given how much higher the bore axis is over the beaver tail of the grip, it doesn't lend itself as well to recoil control as the past two guns that we reviewed, so we gave it a 4. Moving on to sights, we gave it an 8. On this particular slide, they come with nice metal sights, just tritium in the rear with a green surrounded tritium vial in the front. I found them to be very accurate. The point of aim, point of impact was very nice. I just put that green dot over the center of the B8 when I was shooting, and I had good impact so long as I had a clean trigger break. Aftermarket support, I also gave it an 8. Since its debut in 2014, there has been a lot of new and innovative parts being introduced for the 320 series. There are a couple different companies that actually make frames. Some of my favorites are the Wilson Combat frames. They have a very nice mag well. They're a little bit more ergonomic and they look pretty cool too. Capacity, we also gave it an 8. It's pretty on par with other striker fired handguns. In this current configuration, it's a 17+1 depending on the mags you get, and you can get the bigger frame so you can carry a 20+1, also depending on the mag extensions that you get as well. Moving on to serviceability, I gave it a 9. It is very easy to take down. It's toolless, just like the Glock, and very easy to service and move parts around when you're cleaning, servicing, or just kind of messing with configurations. Value, this one was a little bit hard for me to kind of justify my decision on, but ultimately I settled on a 7. Since it is a little bit more on the expensive side, it didn't do as well in cost, but when you're looking for frames and other stuff like that, those frames are actually pretty affordable. They're only like 70 or 80 bucks depending on where you get them from. And they come with some mags, they come with a decent case. So it's not terrible, but it's not the highest value that you get for a handgun, a striker fired handgun. And ending with cool factor, this is always subjective to the reviewer. I found the 320 nice to shoot. One of the things that bumped the cool factor up for me was its modularity. I think it's really cool that you can just have the one serialized fire control group and then you can move that around so that you don't have to go and buy multiple frames. You don't have to send it to an FFL. If you're sending it off to a company to get stippled, you can just send them that frame. You don't have to do another 4473 to get it back. I think that's super cool. But ultimately I settled on a 7 just because I'm not a huge fan of the bore axis or the trigger. Obviously, again, the drop safe issue back in the early days is a bit of an issue. Even though they've remedied it, it's always going to be in the back of your mind. That does kind of suck. It's a bit of a scar on the 320's reputation. But all around, there are a lot of people that shoot 320s. There are a lot of people that shoot them really well. A lot of countries have adopted it. A lot of law enforcement agencies have adopted it. But that brought us to a total score of 69. Let us know what you guys thought of how the 320 added up against the Glock 19 and the M&P 2.0. Also, let us know what you guys want to see us review next, handgun wise. They've got a good list going, but if we get a good majority in the comments of a handgun, then we might do that one next. As always, guys, like, share, subscribe, comment, let us know what you want to see next, and we'll see you next time.